Hello and welcome to Restore 2023. We are in the first chapter of the letter or the epistle to the Hebrews. And the difference between the beginning of this letter or epistle and the beginning of other New Testament epistles, especially the ones that we're used to read that are from Paul, the differences are obvious. There is no introduction here of who the writer is. There is no mention of who the initial readers or recipients are. There's no benedictions. These were all common features of the first century letters. But strangely, we do get the benediction and final greeting in the end of the letter. What if the writer wanted his readers to give full attention to the greatness of Jesus Christ from the very start? All we know about the recipients is that what we see from the title, the Epistle to the Hebrews. This implies that there were Jewish Christians. References to the Old Testament in this letter suggest that the original readers were mainly Jewish. The language is assuming that there is familiarity with Judaism, but also that there is warnings here against turning away from Jesus Christ back to the old covenant. This implies that the Jewish identity of the original audience or recipients. We read from the first chapter of Hebrews that what we read, we cannot avoid to know and appreciate the greatness of Jesus Christ. There are two main themes in the letter. Jesus is the Son of God and he is the high priest. Now, as such, the writer presented him, Jesus, as the greatest revelation that God has given humankind. God's revelation in his Son is superior, is greater than all the other revelations that he has given in the past. First, Jesus is greater than all the previous revelations. God has revealed himself through the angels, through the law, through humans like the prophets, and through the rituals like the temple and the covenants and what have you. But when Jesus Christ came to reveal God and to resemble and to bring him, he brought revelation that supersedes what has come before him. And there were no more highly regarded persons in the minds of the Jew than the prophets or the angels. And not only those who we think as major or minor prophets, for example, but any person or any means through whom God spoke to the people, through whom he did mighty acts. So along with Isaiah, Jeremiah, Elijah, Elisha, we include Abraham and Moses and all of those people who had spoken on behalf of God. The other thing is that God's revelation is not only greater, but secondly, it's sufficient to meet every human need. It's not only sufficient, but it's also final. The essence of the Christian revelation is that God is best seen in his Son. The human analogy is, of course, imperfect, because there is no human father that is completely reflected in his Son. But Jesus Christ perfectly shows all that is noble about the Father. God spoke through his Son, so the need for a prophet no longer exists. He has established a new covenant, so the need for a priest is no longer there. And he has exalted his Son to his right hand, so the need for a king is no more needed. With verse 2, our author commences a long listing of these great characteristics of the Son. And in doing so, he is declaring the essential equality of the Son with the Father. He lists 12 here. Jesus is the Son of God, verse 2 and 5. He is the heir of all things. Second part of verse 2, he's the creator of the world, verse 2 And verse 10, He's the radiant light. Verse 3, He's the image of God. Verse 3, He's the sustainer of the universe. Verse 3, He's the high priest of perfection. Verse 3, He's superior to the angels. Verses 4, 7, 13 to 14. And verse 9, He's the exalted King. He is the Lord of righteousness. Verses 8 and 9, He's the eternal God. He's the ultimate conqueror. Verse 13. So as we go into the day today, let's know and appreciate our Lord's and Saviour's greatness. Let's worship Him.